What's good YouTube, Ben here, welcome to the next video on the channel. In this one, I'm going to give you my next Steel Path Viable build on Warframe. This is going to be for Mirage Prime. Let's get into this. Right, I've done a Mirage Prime build before, and this was ages ago, and I've got a much more updated build now that works really well thanks to a subsumed ability. But we're going to go over Mirage quickly and her abilities. So her passive, sliding lasts 85% longer and acrobatic maneuvers are 50% faster. It's good for movement, but that's about it. First ability is Hall of Mirrors. Mirage creates an entourage of doppelgangers to confuse and distract the enemy. So, of course, this is one of her main abilities that you're going to be using for damage. We've actually subsumed one of Saito 9's abilities, which is Evade. So, altered maximum duration capped to 25 seconds. Jump backwards and become invisible for a short duration. Excuse me. Killing enemies on their weak points extends the duration and heals Saito 9. So, the invisibility is what we're after. Eclipse, so tap it, temporarily reduce the damage Mirage takes from enemies. Hold, temporarily increase Mirage's weapon damage. And Prism, fires an energy prism that shoots lasers in all directions. Activating again detonates the prism, blinding nearby foes. So, we're going after the invisibility part, and you'll see that when we get into the actual play. But the build itself, we're running Corrosive Projection. Enemies lose 18% armor. We've got Power Drift in the extra slot, 15% ability strengthen, plus 30% chance to resist knockdown. Narrow-minded for 99% ability duration and negative 66% ability range. Equilibrium for health pickups give 110% energy, and energy pickups give 110% health. Vitality for 100% health. Transient Fortitude for 55% ability strength and negative 27.5 ability duration. Prime Continuity for 55% ability duration. Of course, you can use normal continuity, but you'll get a little bit less duration. Blind Rage for 99% ability strength and negative 55% ability efficiency. Hall of Malevolence, which is one of the augment mods. Hall of Mirrors augment. The damage of your doppelgangers is increased by 5% every time you kill an enemy, which is extremely important for damage. And Adaptation. When damaged, plus 10% resistance to that damage type for 20 seconds, stacks up to 90%. In the Arcane slots, we've got Arcane Battery, which is why we're not running anything like Flow, because we don't need to. So at rank 5, gain 0.30 maximum energy per armor point up to 1000 energy, plus 1 Arcane Revive. And we're running Arcane Crepuscular, which mine's at rank 4, but I'll tell you what rank 5 does anyway. At rank 4, while invisible, gain plus 25% ability strength and plus 3 times final critical multiplier. At rank 5, it gets plus 30% and stays with the same final, so it's only 5% difference, but it still works absolutely fine. Of course, I'd recommend having this at maximum. I just don't have enough standing in 1999 to get there yet. But we're rocking a 226% duration build, 45% efficiency, 34% range, and 269 ability strength to make sure our doppelgangers are doing as much damage as absolute possible. But we'll jump into the mission. I'll show you what this thing can do. Alright, so usually I go to Oxymoko in the Void, but this time we're at Mott, and the reason we're at Mott is because more enemies equals more procs Mirage to use for her invisibility. Of course, it does work in other missions anyway, but we want to keep the ability going for as long as possible, and survivals are generally the best way to do that. Basically, any mission type you're getting swarmed, but the reason we choose the Void is because Void is one of the latest game areas of the game, meaning that on Steel Path, you're dealing with higher level enemies, not to mention here you're dealing with the Corrupted, and with the Corrupted, you're dealing with enemies with just health, enemies with health and shields, and enemies with health and high armor, giving you a more varied example of what your weapon/Warframe can do. So, we're going to immediately jump in. Right, immediately activate clones and get damage buff. There we go. We're going to wait for the enemies to quickly come, and then we're going to activate invisibility. Now, in order to keep the invisibility going, you need to get criticals. So, you need to, not criticals, sorry, you need to get weak point kills. Essentially, get headshots. You're going to want to get as many headshots as possible to keep the ability going for as long as possible. Not to mention, of course, thanks to your doppelgangers, it basically makes pretty much any weapon viable. Any weapon where you can get headshots will work for this. But essentially, you are going to be completely invincible almost because the enemies aren't going to know what to do with you since they do not know where you are. Not to mention, if you do take damage, you get healed every time you take out an enemy. So that also helps too. But as you can see, our maximum duration is like 33 seconds for the invisibility. Of course, that does go back up once you start getting headshot kills. So the more headshot kills you get, the better off you're going to be. And we're literally just going to sit here and get headshots. Quickly activate our damaging abilities again. And basically, yeah, you just go ham on enemies. Take as many out as possible. And as long as you're using a weapon you feel comfortable getting headshots with, you will be absolutely fine. Now, I'm using Tenet Flux Rifle because it is a solid weapon, not to mention, like I said before, pretty much any weapon becomes good when you're using it with Mirage, thanks to Mirage's damage output. She's arguably one of the biggest damage dealers in the entire game. She's also one of my favourite Warframes. And as per usual, we're going to stay in long enough for the Acolyte to spawn. Hopefully it doesn't take too long.
I've delivered a life support capsule to the area. Activating it.
But as you can see, we are absolutely decimating everything. And if you're wondering about Acolytes, I wouldn't worry too much. Acolytes are pretty easy to take out with this build. And as you can see, we are ripping through everything, of course. My Tenet Flux Rifle build is on my channel, so it's in the Warframe playlist if you want the Flux Rifle build as well to go with it. But this just makes Steel Path an absolute breeze. Now, just remember as well, if you do for some weird reason lose your invisibility, it will have a cooldown, so you cannot activate it again for a bit. So try to not lose your invisibility. But this just makes Mirage absolutely ridiculous. Of course, it would be kind of broken if the ability wasn't capped off of Site 09, because, you know, you need it to not be... Like, ideally, if it wasn't capped, it would be a lot better. But, again, it doesn't really matter too much. Because the amount of output you get on this is just ridiculous anyway.
Get ready for a capsule.
So as you can see, you can literally not hit headshots for a little bit anyway, and then just go back to hitting them, and you won't lose your invisibility. But even like Jade Eximus can't fire at you, like, you know, those stupid green beams, because they don't know where you are. No one can see you. So because no one can see you, no one can really do anything. The only time you kind of have to worry is with Acolytes. Certain Acolytes will cancel your abilities out. But again, if you can take them out quick enough, you do not have to worry about that at all. But you'll see that when the Acolyte spawns. But yeah, you can basically just chill. Like, if you want to farm on, like, let's say, Mott on Steel Path for a long survival, as long as you're completely active and not AFK, you can sit here for basically as long as you want and not have to worry too much about any enemies absolutely destroying you, because then no one can see you. Even Eximuses don't stand a chance because they genuinely cannot see you. Now, I wouldn't advise this for stuff like stealth missions like Spy if you're going to use a Spy, if you're going to use a invisible frame, because the invisibility is, again, suspect at best because you have to keep getting headshots in order to keep it going. But the cool thing is, this build is very low maintenance, thanks to just getting headshots. Like, as long as you're accurate enough to get headshots, which my accuracy sucks, so I'm sorry, but if I can get headshots, anyone can. I don't typically make headshot builds purely because they're just, for me, not as good, purely because, again, I sometimes just completely suck at getting headshots. But if you can get at least a headshot every, like, 20 seconds, you're basically sorted. Right, we do need to activate life support, though, because we are going to go down, which is fine. It's pretty normal for a survival mission. Just got to quickly activate a life support. Beautiful. I need to get a couple headshots to keep this going. Oh, yeah, we're good. We're good. There we go. We're once again good, so that's excellent. I'm just going to go ahead and activate some more life support. Weirdly, we've not been getting any life support drops, which is slightly annoying, but it is what it is. Beautiful. Just going to get back to as close to maximum as possible. There we go. But again, we can just go back to doing what we were doing. The Acolyte's coming in, which is great. We need the Acolyte in, so that's absolutely fine. We've got Misery. Okay. So, as per usual with stuff like Acolytes, you know, you want to do what you can to get rid of them. Don't know where the Acolyte's gone. There he is. Using Flux Rifle, we can just get rid of him. Boom, and he's gone. Yeah, just like that. Boom, Acolyte gone. And we can just sit here and farm as much as we want. But yeah, that's my new build for Mirage Prime. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Don't forget you can also support the channel completely for free just by liking, commenting, and subscribing. It really does help with that YouTube algorithm. And don't forget you can also support the channel even further by becoming a channel member just from as little as 99 pence per month. Any financial help does help me support the channel more by getting new gear and stuff. Don't forget you can also join me on my live streams, because I do live stream. When I go live here on YouTube and over on Twitch and on Kick, all at the same time. My streams here on YouTube are in the shorts form feed, so more for mobile. If you want to catch the exact same streams at the exact same time in full 1080p, feel free to join me on Twitch or Kick. Those links are in the description below.